Today on the Texas Tribune Weekend Insider. Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Dallas has experience in President Obama's endorsement, but she's also got two feisty opponents. One of them with a campaign run by Obama's 2008 field director, the other a current member of the Texas House. What are their chances of unseating the longtime incumbent? Then we look at the legacy of Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst. If he wins his bid to replace U.S. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, he will leave a job he has held for 9 years. How has Dewhurst's tenure affected the position of Lieutenant Governor, which has been described as the most powerful position in Texas government?
So Eddie Bernice Johnson has been a member of Congress for almost 20 years. She represents Dallas, southern Dallas County, and she has very rarely in her career had a primary opponent. This time around, she has two opponents in the Democratic primary. The first is a young man by the name of Taj Clayton. He's African American, a Harvard-educated attorney. The other opponent is a woman by the name of Barbara Mallory Caraway. She is a current Texas state representative. She's been in office, I think the 2000 session was her first session. Before that, she was a Dallas City Council member. So she has also a long history in Dallas. Part two that's unusual is Eddie Bernice Johnson has a very big endorsement. President Obama has endorsed her for re-election, which is a very unusual thing for the president to do in a primary. I think he's only done it in a few other races. The third thing that is very unusual about this race is that a super PAC is at play. And it's not your usual super PAC. It's a group called the Campaign for Primary Accountability. Basically, they are this quote-unquote nonpartisan group. They try to boot out incumbents who they think have been in office for too long without doing enough. Taj Clayton has the support of this Campaign for Primary Accountability, this super PAC. That's led to some charges that, Eddie Bernice Johnson thinks, he has some kind of Republican backing when really he's a Democrat through and through. I think the outcome is probably going to be that Eddie Bernice Johnson is going to win this race. She's a big name in the community. She's been in this seat forever. It is really hard to unseat incumbents in Texas, even when you have a lot of money behind their opponents. This gentleman, Taj Clayton, I think probably has a political future, if not this race down the line. His campaign manager right now is President Obama's 2008 national campaign field director. So clearly some folks in high places think that he has legs.
David Dewhurst is the presumed frontrunner in the race to replace Kay Bailey Hutchison in the U.S. Senate. And Dewhurst has been lieutenant governor for 9 years, which means he's the third longest serving lieutenant governor in Texas history. And so we've been kind of exploring what kind of legacy he's left in the position. Historically, lieutenant governor has been considered by many to be the most powerful position in Texas government. People like Bullock and William Hobby were seen as really using the position to its fullest to have more sway over legislation at times than the governor or the Speaker of the House or anyone else. When we talk to a lot of Capitol insiders and current and former senators, most of them don't tend to think that Dewhurst was as powerful in the lieutenant governor position as, say, Bob Bullock. Some feel that Dewhurst just caved too often in negotiations with the House or with Governor Perry, or was too often influenced by outside groups more than the senators he was working with. But there are also a lot of Dewhurst supporters who point to all the conservative legislation that's passed in the last 9 years and say, if Governor Rick Perry can get the credit for that stuff, then Dewhurst deserves it just as much. When I ask people about the legacy that David Dewhurst has had on the lieutenant governor position, a lot of them tell me that it really depends on who the next lieutenant governor is and whether that person will follow the Dewhurst model or perhaps be a little more forceful in the position.